I made the 2D rendering library in OpenGL course, and it is now live and on sale with the link in the description. All you need is intermediate C++ experience and basic OpenGL experience. And from there, we make together a 2D library that has all the features you need to make a 2D game or the beginning of a game engine. Have you ever had problems rendering text in C++? Or have you ever had problems with this weird texture atlas bug? Or you just don't know how to make a 2D library correctly? I've got you covered with 2.5 hours of carefully planned and edited video content and 20 plus guided challenges for you to practice on your own. But what's so special about this course? It all started 5 years ago, when I was an intermediate C++ game developer, and I used to make my 2D games using SFML. Now, I didn't particularly like SFML, and besides, I wanted to make my own things rather than use other libraries. So I decided to make my own 2D library instead. I already knew OpenGL, so I started working. And this is how GL2D was born, and what at that time seemed like another random project on my GitHub account turned out to be the most important piece of code I ever wrote, because if you look at my YouTube channel, literally all projects use my 2D library. My Steam game was entirely made using GL2D, my game engine uses it for 2D things, and even my Minecraft-like game uses it for UI. This one library allowed me to make so many projects that it alone is the reason for me getting from an intermediate level programmer to an advanced programmer. And we all know why you are here. You could just use Raylib or SFML, but that's not fun. You want to learn how to make games from scratch yourself or make a game engine. And trust me, it really feels way cooler to make a game using your own 2D library. And if you want to make a game engine, the 2D library component of it is a great start. The most common problem I see while talking to people at this level on my Discord server is that they start making a big project, but at some point, the code becomes broken and unmaintainable, and they get stuck. Don't worry, I got you covered. People focus on teaching algorithms and data structures and design patterns instead of teaching good programming practices. So in this course, besides making the library itself, I will teach you how to design a good C++ library with the 5 pillars of good library design. And I won't just give you the boring theory, I will give you examples from other good libraries. And while we make our own library, I will constantly point out all the good practices I use. Writing good code just comes from doing things in small steps, and also learning to protect yourself against failure points at every step possible. Nothing special, but you need someone to constantly remind you for some time about this, so you form these good habits. So after finishing this course, I can confidently say you will be better equipped to make C++ libraries and also write better C++ code in general, skills that you need if you want to make games from scratch or a game engine. And the library itself will have all the features you need to make your own game. In fact, it will be even better than the state of my own library when I shipped this game on Steam, or when I made my game engine. Because I spent so many years trying and testing this library, I was able to get it to a super good point. Text rendering, for example, is super difficult, but we will get to it together and make a solid implementation. I will also give you guidance to add some UI features to the library yourself, taking care of all the UI needs of your games. I will also show you how to fix this super common texture atlas problem for good, how to implement a batch renderer, and so many little details, like the library itself will be easily portable to other graphics APIs. You could learn all of these things online for free, but after spending 5 years on this library and making so many projects with it, I can get you past so many pitfalls related to bugs and little implementation details that to most people might seem harmless, but they can ruin your project. So instead of wasting time remaking projects because your library design was off, or instead of searching how you are supposed to correctly render text, I can just teach you these details, so you can spend your time making fun things, like writing the game, instead of fixing weird bugs. So let's look over the curriculum quickly. First, I have my full CMake tutorial that is completely optional. You can follow this course with your own OpenGL setup, whatever that might be, but my recommendation is to learn CMake using my tutorial, because it's the best setup possible for C++. And obviously, I will show you how I set up this library on GitHub with the CMake and structure. Then we talk about the 5 pillars of good library design. I have some practical things that will make your code better and harder to produce bugs. This lesson will help you for the rest of your programming career. Next, we start implementing some super basic aspects about the library, like shaders, error reporting, textures. Nothing special, but I have seen so many people overcomplicating these steps and doing them wrong. Finally, we implement a batch renderer. Basically, this is the optimized way of rendering 2D games, and after so many years, I got to an implementation that's super simple and also allows you to add super nicely all the features you need, like different shaders and different rendering textures. And after some other details, we get to fixing this texture atlas bug. If you have seen it before, you know how annoying it is, and if you haven't seen it yet, Don't worry, you will also get to see it. I also give you some debugging tips. And finally, we get to the most difficult part, text rendering. When I initially made this library, text rendering was a mess, so I refactored it heavily for this course. I got to a design that I'm super happy about, and allows you to easily implement all sorts of features, so that you never need to worry about this again for your games. After this, I have some other small things like a frame buffer struct, and some challenges for you to implement shaders and post-process effects. And at the end, I will give you some guidance to make some projects with this library, so you can test it and evolve even more in your programming journey, so you can get 5 years of experience with this course in just a few days. And if you are still not sure, you can preview the first lessons for free, and even request a refund from Udemy if you don't like it. So link in the description to start making games from scratch with your own 2D library. And hurry, because the launch sale doesn't last forever. See you inside.